Hello, Dave and Tim here with another single malt review, and we have, much to my pleasure, reviewed many Woodford Reserve bourbons and related Woodford American whiskies in recent times.
Sort of becoming Woodford experts around here, insofar as a couple of New Zealanders are ever going to be experts on Woodford. Starting with the standard range, and then, much to my chagrin, finding out that it's bottled at a lower 40% ABV, 80 proof strength here. We sought out, with the help of a whisky hero, Ian Holmes, we found some American strength to compare it to. And lo and behold, when the strength goes up, the scores went up. Didn't really take a genius there, but we did have to do due process. And quite serendipitously, we have come upon something that might be really the ultimate comparison. The Woodford to which all other Woodfords can be henceforth compared to. This was passed to me by, I think I'd be pretty well correct in calling him one of the most passionate bourbon lovers I think the country of New Zealand has to offer, who also works in the industry, so has the good fortune to encounter some commercial samples like this. And he was able to give me this Woodford Reserve batch proof. And by batch proof, they basically mean the proof it comes out the barrel of. So this is Woodford Reserve cask strength, or at least near as damn it. And it is 125.8% proof. And you worked this back.
It's 62.9% ABV, which is staggeringly high.
That's spicy meatball.
Weapons grade bourbon right there.
That is... But it could be, and I'm hoping, the most exciting Woodford we've tried yet.
As it happens, you can now get Woodford Reserve in New Zealand at the American strength of the 45 ABV plus.
If you shop smart, you can get the good stuff.
But this potency is still elusive for most. We've had strong bourbon in the past, around 60% mark, but this is taking it to just another level.
This is getting into Booker's country. Incidentally, something that has now gone from our shores. We've drunk our last Booker's over here. Baker's, I think, still here, though maybe dwindling. I think the supply may have been cut off, but no, Booker's unavailable in New Zealand, which is a bit of a shame, because that was a pretty iconoclastic bourbon, that one.
It'll be iconic rather than iconoclastic, hopefully.
Possibly.
Iconoclasm is the systematic destruction of
icons. All right then. Well, that's something else.
It's sort of the opposite of iconic. But, well, it's a warm day, so there's plenty of fumes happening, but there's a fug of Woodford goodness just hanging in the air already.
This is a real, put away all naked flames and sources of ignition. This is, petrol station forecourt grade.
Turn off cell phones, no smoking.
Applied, to look at it, aside from being just a wee bit darker, actually quite a bit darker. That's a real concentration there. And I suppose, working logically, this being an uncoloured bourbon, or at least we hope it is.
By law it has to be, right?
Yeah. Actually, yes. No, you're right there. Unchill filters.
No filtering, no colour, no
filtering can and does happen.
Right.
Colouring, I believe that's mandatorily avoided. So, presumably, the stronger your Woodford gets, the darker it gets. And this is a really, really healthy, sort of a mahogany brown here.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
And there is this razor-thin rim of extremely potent-looking oils just clinging to the edge of the glass. It's like a high tide mark, which just really shines in the sun.
It does really cling on there. Yeah. The nose, well...
Oh, that is all Woodford, all the same.
You have to approach it carefully.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's easier to say than do.
Full of this caramel and vanilla.
Yeah, that is weapons grade there. I want to get in there. It's just I find I'm a bit like my nose is like the lion tamer approaching with the stool. It's
you got to take it.
You really have to approach that carefully. That is just so strong.
Dashes of popcorn, bit of peanut butter.
Yeah, no, let's knuckle down and try this. Yeah. Do this properly here. There is, from the top, in order of things that I get here, there is 1, maple syrup. 2, corn. 3, spice, and that's where I lose the thread. There is so much spice in here. And it is just all so strong so quickly. it's difficult to go any further at full strength. It is I should have said number one, alcohol.
Yeah.
Because, man, that is strong.
The oak and vanilla are pervasive for me, but everything else is layered on underneath those, and there's so much happening there. It's still unmistakably Woodford. It is very evocative of all the lower strength Woodfords, like substantially lower strength Woodfords we've tried in the past. Just it is all of that and more concentrated here, as one would expect. But
yeah, this is not quite, but it is. It could be argued this is very, very close to twice the strength of 40% Woodford.
Oh, it's like 50% stronger than those. So
yeah, it's really, really hammering
we
on.
had an extra
Shall we
third on top.
Shall we give it a wee? Shall we hazard a taste full strength?
So there's one thing we've learned comparing bourbon to Scotch is that you can usually sip a bourbon at a far higher strength
without
than
catching
Scotch whiskey.
fire.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does.
All that brings a prickle to the tongue and the eyes, but that is so drinkable at that strength. My mouth is still burning. It's a bit of a chili pepper burn. That is, and now my mouth is just watering. That is
that
bourbon journey.
Is, and that's one of the magical things about bourbon. There's almost no strength at which it's undrinkable.
Yeah.
I've had a few, and this is a few sips of straight Buffalo Trace. We're not talking, not talking lame Buffalo Trace, which is another sad 40% version you get over here. But I mean, real Buffalo Trace. When it comes up, when it starts getting a wee bit George T. Stag on you and going 70% or above, I've had a wee tug on that, and that's still drinkable. It's pretty unkind to the membranes, but it's it's still, there's something to appreciate here, and that is very much the case with this one at a mere 62. There's a hell of a lot going on there.
It is rough. This is hard on the tongue. I don't mean it's rough in the sense that it is quite aggressive. This is punishing to the palate.
It's hard. It's hard chemically. It's hard because it's actually attacking your cells.
It is still carrying so much of the flavour. All the classic Woodford.
There is a savoury quality here. Yeah. There is a sort of salty popcorn, buttery.
Popcorn is a good one. I got that on the nose too. I'm going to add just a tiny smidge of water. I don't want to take it down to the strength we're used to, but I want to cut it just a tiny bit, just so I can taste a little more.
Presumably, if we took it down, we'd just recreate bourbons.
We would, yeah. So I don't want to take it down too far, just enough that I can open it up a little and hopefully get a little more.
But I think it does want a wee bit. So we'll call this probably a bit above 50, maybe 50.
Man, that is immediately as smooth as any lower strength bourbon. That is now completely quaffable. I put maybe 3 or 4 drops in there.
It's woody now as well. It's very woody, which is, funny enough, what I get from Woodford Reserve is that woody, oaky quality. It is one of the oakier bourbons.
Some nice vanilla and some char happening there. It is still sweet, but with a good savoury edge to it too. It is a well-rounded, well-balanced sipping experience.
Yeah, spicier, a little fruitier, and way oakier. This has seriously brought the tannin to the front, and it's extremely oaky now, grippingly oaky. I love this. This is my complaint about these watered down international release bourbons is that strength is part of bourbon's flavour. It's part of what makes bourbon. Is this? It is the strength of character. It's the force with which it delivers the statement that it makes, and I think that is mandatory for a bourbon. I think they're just neutered. It takes the life out of them if they do not have that ABV, that proof to back them up.
Yeah,
and this one,
a good high proof bourbon will simultaneously give an icy chill down your throat, as well as sort of setting your tongue on fire.
This is a bourbon that it rides up with a posse and calls you out of the saloon for an olfactory shootout. This is just, this brings it. It brings it, and that's why I respect bourbon. Is because it bloody brings it in a way that Scotch whisky doesn't necessarily do. Scotch whisky is sort of a bit more, it's complex, it's contemplative sometimes. It can go in any given different direction, but bourbon lets you know it's bourbon. There is no pussyfooting around, and never has there been less pussyfooting than with this monster of a Woodford Reserve. And it's really, really good. It is really good. It's almost, at full strength, that's too much of a good thing. Arguably, it is just too strong. Only a madman would sit there and just sip on that all day.
63%.
It's just wildly strong at that point. But
you still can if you want to.
Yeah, you can if you want to. It's its own experience. It's worth doing.
Yeah.
I'd recommend everyone have a wee nosh at it at that strength. But just with that bit of water that we gave it, bringing it down to sort of 55, 50, still stronger than any other release, America or otherwise, of Woodford Reserve. That's a really, really tasty experience. It is, again, we've tasted lots of different Woodfords. None of them have tasted un-Woodford. They've all had the Woodford Reserve flavour, which is like a lot of maple syrup, a lot of oak, and a lot of sweet spice. It's a sweet bourbon. It's not a dry bourbon. So think cinnamon and clove, not cracked pepper and nutmeg kind of a thing. It's just the strength at which it really hits the buds just has gone up, and at this point it's taken it right to the max, and it's just such an experience. Scores for this one, we've seen them go up and up as the strength has gone up. The strength has gone up wildly here, and so I don't think we're going to see necessarily a 1-to-1. It's not just a case of tip in more alcohol and our bourbon scores will go up. There has to be a mitigating factor somewhere, but it's just extreme in so many ways, and one of those things is good. It is extremely good. This is, keep in mind, this is bourbon score, not necessarily Scotch whisky, so compare apples with apples, but this is 94 points.
Yeah.
There's just so much to love here. It's generous in the abject extreme. What do you think?
Yeah, equally, this is a champion bourbon. Woodford has been one of my go-to bourbons for a long time. It is consistently high quality and a really nicely balanced flavour that favours the sweet, which is how my palate swings generally. So, and as we've increased the strength on the Woodford Reserve bourbons we've been trying, we've increased the quality, and the scores likewise have gone up too.
Yeah.
And this, like the quintessence of Woodford Reserve, which we're trying here with this batch proof offering, it rates a 92 for me.
Yeah, I think this is, we'd have to consult the Excel document, but I think this puts up at the highest scoring bourbon we have ever tried.
It's at least an equal, I think.
Yeah. And for good reason. This particular release will probably see the light of day as a Woodford Reserve's Distillers Select or Distillers something, I forget. They're sort of batched releases, which are normally, well, they can range into the pricey to the hideously expensive, but they are always interesting.
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad I didn't have to go out and buy one for this particular tasting, because I would have avoided a significant cost there. They are not cheap, but that's probably the only way to commercially obtain barrel-proof Woodford.
Do expect though, if I see this on the shelf, I will be picking up one for my personal collection.
It's a rip-roaring bourbon, and it's up there among the absolute best. It is Woodford in absolutely its purest form. It's Woodford with nothing interfering with it, nothing getting in its way. It's Woodford cut
unmediated. It hasn't been changed in any way to meet any market expectations or dollar per milliliter valuation or anything. It's just the raw product.
It is
unmodified, straight up.
It's down tootin' excellent bourbon is what it is, and I think if we did the math, I think this is probably the best we've ever scored. If you average those two together, I think we've had some pretty good ones from Beam's craft range. I think Rowan Creek did pretty good. I don't think anything did quite as good as this one, and boy, it is deserved. There's just so much to love in this particular wee sample bottle. That's my only regret, is that it is so small. But hey, it was free, so one can't complain. So that was Woodford. They're calling it batch proof, but you could call it barrel proof, you could call it cask strength. the message is that, hey, this is the real stuff. It doesn't get realer than this, and that's important sometimes to really connect with the core of bourbon, because I think that's its main strength, is its punchiness. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that one. Bet you weren't expecting that from us. The Woodford ingrates who currently come here to complain. This is a Woodford we really, really love, so there you go. More please, Woodford. That would be really good. Slanger, we'll be back with something that I don't even know what is. Don't even have a one-liner for the end of this one. It'll be something alcoholic. There we go. That's always a sound bet here. Or it might not be. We might be reviewing tea. We won't be, don't worry.